Good afternoon from London. It's a nice sunny afternoon here in London. Turned out nice again, as they say. And hello from me, Dr. Dermot Hudson, the chairman of the British group for the study of the Juche Idea, chairman of the UK Korean Friendship Association, and official delegate of the Korean Friendship Association for the United Kingdom, and also president of the Association for the Study of Songun Poltiics of the UK. And with the increasing pressure and hostility of the United States under the Biden regime, People's Korea has taken resolute and decisive measures to defend its independence, sovereignty, and its people-centred socialist system. On Monday, 15th of March, Comrade Kim Yo-jong, Vice Department Director of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, issued a statement titled, "It will be hard to see again spring days 3 years ago," concerning the holding of war games by South Korea and the US. The statement dealt in detail with questions of inter-Korean relations as well as DPRK-US relations. The excellent statement of Comrade Kim Yo-jong points out that in 2018, South Korea staged 110 war drills, increasing to 190 in 2019 and 170 in 2020. It is very important that the world public should know about the aggressive actions of the South Korean puppet military and the US imperialist armed forces, which are staging a huge amount of war games in South Korea. But the mainstream media keeps silent about this and instead falsely paints the DPRK as an aggressor. It goes without saying that the war games of South Korea and the US are a flagrant violation of the inter-Korean agreements and the DPRK US joint statement of 2018. Comrade Kim Yo-jong rightly exposes the falsity that the exercises are smaller in scale than before, so should not pose a problem. This is simply because the COVID-19 pandemic means that the exercises are smaller. The main point is that they are going ahead and are aimed at the US. The nonsense and hypocrisy of the South Korean side, shown by Comrade Kim Yo-jong, who says, and I quote, "They are not ashamed of remaining ignorant of the fact that we are not taken in by their nonsense, coating mad dog with sheepskin," end of quote. I think that's a wonderful quotation. Comrade Kim Yo-jong is always very straight talking. The statement warns the South Korean authorities that the DPRK will take a number of countermeasures, such as abolishing the North-South military agreement and other measures. We strongly support the stance of the DPRK on this issue. Moreover, the new administration of Sleepy Joe Biden is warned not to cause a stink on the Korean Peninsula by holding military exercises. We strongly support the statement of Comrade Kim Yo-jong and the warnings to the US and South Korea in it. And also the US was complaining that it didn't get any response from the DPRK, for holding talks. I mean, we strongly support this stand of the DPRK. I think they're absolutely right not to speak to the US. They're absolutely correct. They're not going to make the same mistake as the revisionist Soviet Union and a number of other countries did. In connection with the US, so-called overtures, the first Vice Foreign Minister of the DPRK, Comrade Che Sung Hee, issued a statement in which she said, "We don't think there is need to respond to the US delaying time trick again." And indeed, there is no need for the DPRK to respond to such deceptive overtures of the US, particularly at a time when the US and its South Korean puppets are carrying out military exercises aimed at the DPRK. It is indeed foolish for the US to expect any response from the DPRK. The US came out with talk of denuclearization of the DPRK, which really means the unilateral and one-sided disarmament of the DPRK, or basically desocialization or decommunization of the DPRK, is basically a regime change tactic of US imperialism to overthrow the socialist system of the DPRK. The DPRK had already stated several times that there is no possibility for DPRK-US dialogue whilst the US pursues a hostile policy towards the DPRK. Yet the US is like an old gramophone record stuck in the same groove. What is worse is that the US have actually stepped up their anti-DPRK hostile policies under the Biden regime. DPRK citizens have been indicted on false charges by US court. There is talk of additional sanctions against the DPRK, and the US have slandered the DPRK's most correct anti-epidemic measures, which have actually prevented the inroads of COVID-19 into the DPRK, and in fact the DPRK is the only country in the world without COVID-19. Really, the US is taking the biscuit if it wants talks with the DPRK. As Comrade Che Sung Hee says, it will only be a waste of time to sit with the US, as it is not ready to feel and accept new change in new times. End of quotation. We salute and support the just stand of the DPRK as manifested by the statement of the first Vice Foreign Minister. The DPRK is not fooled by the US and its fake peace moves, which are a trick to stifle the socialist system. Bravo People's Korea for sticking to principles. We say that if the US really wants peace on the Korean Peninsula, then they must totally end their anti-DPRK hostile policy and negotiate with the DPRK on a fair and equal basis. And last week, on the 17th of March, a very grave crime was committed against the DPRK, namely an innocent DPRK citizen who'd been residing legally in Malaysia for many years, was extradited to the US on trumped up charges. So on the 19th of March, the DPRK Foreign Ministry, in a statement titled "Unfairness Would Not Escape from Stern Judgment of Fairness," announced its decision to totally sever diplomatic relations with Malaysia, as it had committed, and I quote, a super large hostile act against the DPRK in subservience to US pressure. The Malaysian authorities, so-called, had acted in a most despicable, mean-spirited way by extraditing a DPRK citizen living in Malaysia who'd been carrying out legitimate business activities to the United States. This is an unthinkable action, and it is scandalous that the Malaysian authorities should even consider such a move, let alone carry it out. The Malaysian authorities acted in an unfair way right from the start by arresting the DPRK citizen on false charges. The Malaysian regime failed to provide any substantial evidence against the DPRK citizen and acted in a high-handed and unjust manner. The actions of the Malaysian regime were prompted by pressure and bribery by the US, as the DPRK Foreign Ministry statement says, and I quote, "It is a nefarious act, an unpardonably heavy crime that the Malaysian authority, a government as it is nominally called, though, offered our citizen as a sacrifice to the US hostile move in defiance of the internationally acknowledged laws, not content with its blind acceptance of and obedience to US unjust pressure." End of quotation. Malaysia is the kind of place, kind of country that if the Yankees say jump, they tamely ask how high. Malaysia is nothing but a neo-colonial puppet bourgeois comparator regime. It is a fascist state. In the past, the Malaysian reactionaries fought a barbaric civil war against the Malaysian Communist Party and committed all sorts of atrocities. I totally support the correct measures taken by the DPRK Foreign Ministry against the servile pro-US authorities in Malaysia. It is the right of the DPRK to assert its independence. We support the decisive and resolute measures taken by People's Korea to defend independence and socialism, and we will support further measures when they are announced. Let's all stand by People's Korea and defend it from attack by the US imperialism and world imperialism, the South Korean puppets and the Malaysian reactionaries. Long live People's Korea, long live Juche, stand by People's Korea. Thank you very much for listening. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe, and also to our affiliated channel UK KFA, and please check out the Facebook pages of UK KFA and the British group for the study of the Juche Idea, and check out our online activities. We've got events coming up on the 27th of March and also the 11th of April, so please support our online activities, and I wish you all a good day, stay safe, and goodbye.